First of all, good evening, all, and thanks for this opportunity to admin the owner of Mystico, the Vice Indian. Uh, this talk will not probably for the basics one, like if you are not really aware with them with some basic concept like the services and the really basic concept of Windows and operating system. This talk might not be right choice for this time. Maybe you can go through this talk and maybe you can later on rewatch it once you got clear with this concept, which I will not gonna include this within my talk, right? However, the concept is really new, and within 2020, I can say this concept or the vulnerability which I will gonna speak here has really make a huge impact over many organizations. For example, any of the you can say any of the defenders like antiviruses companies. Yeah, those are was really vulnerable for this vulnerability prior 2020. But yeah, this 2020, this vulnerability does not exist with any of the antiviruses for the moment. But yeah, the vulnerability still exists with the many different applications. This talk will be probably somehow on the phases of, or not the phases, I can say somehow through the 0 day perspective. Means it's not too old, it's not too I can say too newer one, but yeah, it's somehow middle one, right? But the concept is really great, and the exploitation part, it is really awesome. So let's just keep talking about it and let's just dig into it. Of course, my talk are most of the time really to the practical one, not to the theoretical part. So yeah, everything will be explained with some practical demonstration along with some source code. I'll try to cover if time allows me, of course. But yeah, here it is. So the Windows FOB file operation bugs. What are the file operation? It's simple. When you do a reading activity, when you just double click on some particular file, that is a file operation. That file is you are trying to read that particular file. When the file operation, like you want to write something, right? And those are the operation are known as file operation, like so, some activity with some certain files, right? So yeah, this is all we're gonna talk in this session. So first of all, who am I? It's simple. Everyone knows me from Team Mystico as Mr. Robot. Rikun Sundwar is my Twitter handler. If you want to connect me for any kind of query, of course, I'm not really that active on Twitter and any of the social media, but yeah, you can give it a try to connect me. I'll for sure help me. But the right choice, or if you want really connect me, try connecting to Mystico. If you join Mystico, I will be most of the time active on the Telegram. So join Mystico and boom, you'll have access to me directly, right? What I'm doing right now, I'm doing some freelance, doing some projects related to red teaming and VAPT stuff, a smaller project, of course. Also, I do provide some cybersecurity trainings for some advanced penetration testing stuff. Of course, I skipped, I just ignored the basics one. I don't really like to dig into those basics, but yeah, right now I'm moved to the advanced stuff. Also, I do some researches on Windows vulnerabilities. There can be many vulnerabilities which is in the scope for the Windows environment. And yeah, you can tell me like I am I'm a bit more familiar with the Windows environment. I don't really like the Linux one for the exploitation part, but yeah, I know the concept. I know how to use Linux. I know what is the Linux. I use Linux, of course, because I do red teaming, I do VAPT stuff. So yeah, and I do use the Linux environment, but I'm a bit more familiar with the Windows environment because of the usability, I can say. Yeah, and it's easy to use, of course. Agenda. What will be the agenda? What we're gonna learn, or by the end of the session, what you will gonna learn? Let's just dig into that, right? So here within the agenda, first of all, we'll start with the process monitor tool. Everything will be on a practical manner. No theoretical part will be covered, of course. Windows symbolic link basic. What are the Windows symbolic links? I can say What are the tools which can help to create and delete those symbolic links? That will be covered, of course. Windows privilege escalation through the file operation, like how file operations can help to do privilege escalation, right? We're gonna find it, of course, and we're gonna give it a try to exploit it. If I have time, then I'll try to show you how we can exploit it in a different way. If time doesn't allows me to do so, maybe you can connect me later over Mystico group, and I'll surely help you for explaining those stuff, right? So we'll start from process monitor. Process monitor, it's a great tool from sysinternal, right? If you don't really know what is sysinternal, so it's a part of Microsoft TechNet website. The tool monitors display in real time all file system activity on the Windows environment. What do I mean by that? Well, it's pretty simple. It will gonna start a process of itself, and it will gonna monitor all the activity which are running on the system, like on the file system, I can say. Like if a process trying to read something, it will gonna log that, it will gonna monitor that, right? If some program tries to load a particular file, it will gonna monitor that. Means it will be a process monitor with some extra feature of monitoring the system file system activity, like all the read, write, and all kind of operation will be over here, all kind of log over here, I can say. Another, in simple term, it's a process spying tool. You can spy on your process. If you are familiar with the Linux environment, there is alternative for this process monitor. I'm not sure how awesome it can be, but yeah, I think so. It's good. It's good, at least. The process monitor, or there's an alternative for Linux is PSPY. If you just Google about PSPY, you'll get the GitHub link. Many of the hack the box machine has shown that, but yeah, it can be alternative for this in the Linux environment if you would like to exploit the same vulnerability on the Linux environment, right? So it's a process spying tool which spies on to the running processes on what activity it does on a file system. An example, loading a module. Module can be DLL file. It can be anything, loading a config file, or writing a log file, or reading any registry value. If you're not sure what is registry, so basically registry is a simple, I can say, file system itself, or a folder. In simple term, I'm just explaining, it's not the right word, keep this in mind, but it's a folder containing of different I can say files, not the file, the objects, I can say, with some different values, right? So program use those registries to save their confidential stuff. Sometimes they save the keys, I can say. If you registered for a particular application, or if you purchase something, then the key for that might saved within the registry. So later on, program can reuse that according to the need, right? So yeah, let's just quick look to the demo for this process monitor. So yep, let's just give it a try. So where's my VM? Here it is. Wiserian, I want just your answer. Is it visible, my Windows screen? I guess so. Yes, I can see that. Perfect. Cool. All good. So process monitor. Let me just quickly open. I already created this VM and everything is on the right place and everything is aligned. So yep, that will be easy for me. If you want to download the SAM, you have to Google about Procmon or sysinternal tools. I have already imported all the sysinternal tools within my C drive. So here's the all sysinternal tools and other tools which I will gonna use. Of course, I'm not gonna use all those, but yeah, many of the tools I'll try to use, I can say. Not many, but yeah, some of them. Cool. So let's just start Procmon by just typing Procmon, and here it is. Here's the basic look. As soon as I started, as you can see, it just messed with some different stuff. It's weird, of course. When you started, everything is messy. If you haven't used this process monitor before, this might be very difficult for you to understand those. However, if you know the filtration process for this process monitor, process monitor is the best tool I can say for finding critical to critical vulnerability or even finding 0 days. Trust me, you can easily find 0 days if you have good hands-on on this single tool with the name of process monitor. It's really easy. How I can do it? Simple. You just have to click on the small icon, I guess, which is for filter. I never use the shortcuts. I like to go with uh, the short. I never use this buttons. I guess if you type press Control L, that will gonna open a filter box. Yeah, that will open filter box. Control L. Keep this in mind. But yeah, it's supposed to be somewhere over here. You can Google or read the manual of process monitor, and that will gonna be totally clear for your end, right? Here it is. How the process monitor or how the process can be filtered, or what are the things which offered by the process monitor. So first, here's the stuff, or here's the columns which you will get from the process monitor. Of course, you cannot see all those columns over here. I can see only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, approx 7, around 7 I can see, right? It looks like around 7 columns is there. So what are the others? Well, it's simple. If you want to see all of those, just right click, select columns, and select all the columns according to your need. But most of the time, the default columns are fair enough to analyze the stuff, right? So let's take an example. First, it says architecture. If you want the architecture to be only for the x86 or a 32-bit, you can select, right? There is also option like if you want to go with different I can say possibilities, not the possibilities, the conditions, like if the architecture is not, less than, more than, begin with, ends with, contains, and exclude. So those can be, I can say, filtration, which can help you a lot. Let me give you an example. So what I'm gonna do, I'll give a process name over here. Sorry, process name. I'm saying that a process name should contain a particular word. For example, I want to specify a word. Let's say, uh, let's use the one which I will gonna use for this the stock, which is somewhere over my desktop. Here it is, the logger, right? Here it is, the binary logger. I'll explain all the stuff. Don't worry at all. So logger, I'm saying that process name should contains a logger word. So if any process has the word logger, it will gonna filter or it will gonna display on my screen. So if I hit add, apply, and boom, right now it's nothing because the process is not there. Any process with the name of logger is not there so far. However, as soon as I click, as soon as I start that process with the name of logger, I should see that on my screen. Here it is. All the activity performed by the logger. All the activities has been marked over here. Let's take a look into it. What kind of activity? First, it says process start. Maybe with, on the last, it's supposed to be process end, if I'm not wrong. Well, no, the program doesn't, program is created by me. So of course it doesn't say that process stop, of course, because I just did it very messily. It's not the accurate code I can say, right? It says it will gonna load the image, means it will gonna execute somehow it will gonna execute this particular logger.exe, right? Load image. It will gonna include some DLL file. It will gonna try to load that particular DLL because some of the imports which are imported to the logger. If you ever use the C programming, and if you know that you add hash include blah 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 blah, hash include stdio.h, hash include conio.h. So basically those simple definition tells your debug, not the debugger, compiler or a linker, both works together, of course, that I want to include the different function with the name of blah 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 blah, right? And that function should be within the system files, and that system files are nothing but those DLLs which contain some different functions, right? So here it is. All it says, then registry, it tries to read some from the registry. Of course, it's a default behavior of any of the application. My application is pretty much simple and short, so yeah, only those traffic I can see, right? And all right, I got a request that I can make my font a larger. Let me give it a try. Sure. I guess so. Maybe edit, event properties, supposed to be font. Yeah, here it is. I can. All right. Cool. That will be better. It's weird. I don't want it to make it the only one. All right. Let's just. Can I select everything? It's updating. Cool. What I can do, I can refresh the stuff. I can start it once again, and that looks really weird. That's really weird. Let me fix that first. So the default one is better, I guess so. Let's just go with the default one. I think it's slightly larger than the default, and we can go with this, right? So those are just operation, I can say, which can be found through the process monitor. Like if it is trying to read a particular file, it will gonna tell it. If it tries to read a registry values, it will gonna tell you. It will go. If it is trying to write a particular file, it will gonna tell you, right? Here it is. It says it will gonna. It says create a file. It doesn't means it will gonna create a particular file. However, it means that it will gonna check whether the file is exist or not, right? There can be two possibilities with this. If that create file meaning, right? We're gonna use that create file. That's why I'm explaining it in a manner, I can say, right? Let's move further and let's try to understand some more. Let's try to find some right stuff. And here it is. It will gonna try to write a particular file, right? As you can see, write file. So all the process activities performed over the file system will be monitored over here. All the activity, like if it tries to load a particular file, if it tries to read a particular file, if it tries to write a particular file, if it even tries to delete a particular file. The delete functionality is not implemented here. I'll explain that in the later on, right? Right now, let's just assume that. So here's the overview of this process monitor. What activity it will gonna do? So it will gonna list all the file system activity performed by a process which you will gonna filter. Also, it has other filters. For example, I want to just get a read functionality, or I want to just get the write functionality. I want to check whether the program writes something or not. It's simple, right? I want to just specify this particular operation because as you can see the column, right? So I'm gonna specify, let's say operation, here it is. Operation contains, go with the contains if you don't want to play with the spello, right? So operation, let's say operation should contains write, right? Write activity. And let's just apply. And here it is. It says that, yeah, this particular program tries to write this particular file, right? That's suspicious. Why this program tries to write that particular file? Why is that, right? We can give it a try. Of course, this is just a logger, means it will gonna log. So similar, the vulnerability was like in the all the antiviruses. So those antiviruses was logging a particular file, and that's why the vulnerability arrives. What is the vulnerability and all the stuff? We're gonna talk in a moment. So just be with me, right? So here it is, all the overview, a quick overview for the process monitor. If you want to really dig more into it, the best way is not to find resources over internet. The best way is to just create small snippets like this. It's not a small, of course, this is the smaller one. Create small snippets, try understanding the functionality of a process. Try coding yourself, try understanding process monitor. That's the best way I can tell you to understand this process monitor. The best way, the bestest way I can say. Let me go back to my PPT to move further because of the time shortage, of course, right? So we know now what is a process monitor. So let's go further. So here it is, symbolic. Oops, why it is moving too far forward? All right. Symbolic link basic. If you are not really aware what related to the symbolic link, don't worry, it will be clear, totally clear over here. Also known as symbolic links are also known as symlinks. If you are aware with the symlinks, that's great. If you don't aware, I'll try to explain that, but of course that will be not in a depth. Like I will not going to explain node and other stuff. There are plenty of resources available explaining some links and all the stuff. Just go there and watch it. That's it, I can say, right? However, there is a no resources you will find for the video field for the vulnerability, which I will gonna explain. So that is more important for the stuff, right? So also known as Symbolic advanced shortcut. For example, if you ever use a Windows operating system, so that Windows operating system, when you install a program, let's take an example. So here it is. I recently installed Notepad, and there is a small shortcut for that, right? If I just go to properties, and here it's a shortcut to particular file, right? So you can assume, it's not a symlink, right? But you can assume that symlink is nothing, but it's like a shortcut. Shortcut will gonna execute the destination application, means it's just a redirector, I can say. Means if you double click or if you just start this shortcut, that shortcut will redirect your execution to the parent application, which will be the notepad, which is located over here, right? On a C program files 86 notepad plus plus, right? And that will gonna execute. So yeah, that is a symlink in a simple term. Let's move further for getting more concept. So it's an advanced shortcut. It's not that shortcut which I have already shown, but it's kind of like that only in some simple term if I want to explain. So it's a redirector. I hope everyone will be familiar with the web concepts like HTTP 302. That you will be going to redirect somewhere. Of course, there is a 301 as well for a temporary and permanent. But I just given an example. Means if someone came to that particular place, if someone wants that part or that page will automatically redirect you to some another page, right? Which is defined within that particular page, right? So I have given a simple example like HTTP 302 status code. If you don't know about HTTP 302 status code, no worries, you can Google about it, of course. All right. So there are also two different type of symlink. First one, a hard link. Second one, a soft link. What we already looked is that shortcut. I can say a soft link is the same as that shortcut. Means if I remove the parent application, for example, I'm not gonna remove that, of course. If somehow I remove this application notepad, let me just delete it. Of course, it will be within my recycle bin. So I'm removing that. All right, it's already being in used. Let me close it, try again, and it's removed, right? As I'm using administrator account. Now, if I try to use this shortcut, it says it won't work because those are redirected to that particular application. So those are somehow the soft link, which will not work when the parent application removed, right? However, if I want to explain the hard link will be totally different. Hard link will be totally different, like it will be complete clone to that application, right? It will be complete clone. An example will be I copied this notepad plus plus and I paste it over here and I'm opening that from my browser. Of course, those error won't be there. Right now, I'm seeing some error on my screen, but those error won't be there because you created a shortcut. It's like a symlink. You are linking a particular file to a particular destination, right? So yeah, those are the small, quick introduction for the soft link and hard link. I can say hard link, it's a clone of particular application, but not completely. Like it's not a copy paste. It will be a clone. The file size will be totally same of the source and destination. However, all the transmission will be forwarded to the official location or actual location, I can say, right? So if you want to learn more about soft links and hard link stuff, Google is there. And yeah, there are plenty of videos for explaining soft link and hard link. You can, of course, find the soft link and hard link in Linux environment. Let's try to figure out the exploitation part for those symlinks and all the file operation bugs. So we're gonna use the symlink testing tool. If you want to download the same, let me first. All right, I can share my browser, I guess. Yeah, I can open it over here from a VM itself. You just have to Google about Symlink testing tool. Symlink testing tools. Of course, the default is being one, and it's from Google Project Zero, right? So of course that will be super awesome. And Google Project Zero is not a small organization, or it's not a small community. It's a huge community, and all those tools allows you to do some different stuff. For example, will not gonna get into all those tools, but yeah, some of one or two will gonna use it for our exploitation part, right? The first one which we will gonna be use is create mount point, right? That create mount point will gonna create just it's like a make directory for now, which we will gonna use. It's almost like a make directory. You will gonna create a directory which is not exist. However, you're gonna create a directory and you will gonna link both of those directories. I will explain that in a moment. Don't worry at all, right? Let me explain that right now, so that will be better for you. So let's assume there is a A folder and there is a B folder, right? So create mount point will gonna link both of those folders. It will gonna link both of those folders. Means if someone tries to came to this A folder, will be automatically reflected to B, kind of, I can say, right? It just creates a mount point from A to B. That's it. Second tool which we will gonna use is create Symlink. Here it is. Create an object manager symbolic link. What does it mean? So basically, we're gonna create a symbolic link through this. Not this. It's a native Symlink. Create Symlink somewhere. It's not here. Create Symlink. All right, we can go from here. Create Symlink. Here it is. And there's supposed to be a text file, a readme text file, where you can understand this completely. Trust me, if you try reading, just try reading it, and that will gonna clear all the basic concept related to this particular tool, right? So here it is. Create base link is like a simple file system level symbolic creator, which doesn't really require administrator privilege. Earlier 2020, if I can say, a normal user was having privilege to do to create a symbolic link. However, after that a vulnerability arrives, those privilege has been removed from a normal user. Means a normal user will not gonna have the privilege of creating symbolic link. I guess if you can just, if you want to provide, you can just type policies, a local security policies. Yeah, and that's supposed to be somewhere over here. A local policies, user rights, and here it is, create symbolic link. Right now, it is only for the administrator. Other than administrator will not be able to create a symbolic link on the system. However, using this tool, it allows a normal user to create a symbolic link, right? I'm just giving an overview of all the different tools which we will gonna use for the understanding and exploitation part, right? So here it is. This tool will gonna create a symbolic link with a non-administrator account. And yeah, we're gonna use both of those tools all together in order to exploit our target, right? And yeah, that's all for this tool part as well. Let me go back to my PPT. So it's a third-party tool, I can say. It's also open source. It's from Google Project Zero. Source code can be downloaded from the GitHub. Also, binaries are available within the releases tab. So just click on that release and you'll have all the binaries related to it. Has many tools which can help to exploit vulnerabilities like arbitrary file write and delete. What does it mean by arbitrary file write and delete? We're gonna explain that. We are here to understand that only, right? So, yep, those are the tools which we will gonna use. So first, create mount point. This is a simple tool to create mount point, sometimes known as a junction or a repass point. This improves on the inbuilt MKLink. MKLink is a tool which helps to create a symbolic link for the Windows environment. It's a tool, nothing else. It's a tool pre-installed on the Windows environment. And the second one is the create symbolic.exe. This is a simple tool. Create a file system label of or a particular file. For example, there is a a.txt and there is a b.txt. So you can simply create a symbolic link from a.txt to the b.txt using this symlink.exe. Create symlink.exe, right? So this is an overview of those tools. Once we started using it, you will get to know all the details, all the concept on that particular part. So be with me. So here it is, privileged for the right topic for my, oops, what's wrong? This is my true topic, I can say, which is privileged for. The vulnerability, file operation, FOB means file operation vulnerabilities, right? File operation bugs. I didn't edit FOB because I want to use the FOB, of course. Yeah, and what does the privilege means? A privileged process trying to do a particular file system activity which can be exploited and which can be leads to vulnerability like arbitrary file write, arbitrary file delete, arbitrary file write leads to LP. Of course, this is even possible, and arbitrary file delete leads to LP. How you can get the privilege escalation? By just deleting a particular file. Arbitrary means which is not intended, I can say, right? How you can delete a particular file to get the privilege escalation? Suspicious, right? That's why I'm here to explain you those concepts. So just be with me. So instead of wasting our time, let's just understand with the practical manner. So here it is, my all the environment. I have explained all the stuff, and we'll just gonna use those stuff, right? So we already know that our logger will gonna write a particular file within the program data. And if you know, program data allows a normal user to have a writable privilege, right? Normal user can have writable privilege within that program data folder, right? Also, if you know that the Windows/temp has also privilege to write into that. I mean, a temporary directory for the complete Windows environment. Everyone can have privilege to write into it, right? And let's just assume that it is trying to write a particular logger ++ .log, right? It is trying to write a particular file. So if I create a reference instead of this file, as a normal user will have privilege to write into this directory. If I forward this, if I create a shortcut with the name of logger ++ .log as a symlink with the reference of a different file, for example, Windows/win.ini, or maybe the SAM file of Windows operating system, or maybe etc host. It's not etc host, of course. It's supposed to be somewhere within the system 32. But yeah, let's just assume if we can write those stuff as the process is created, or the process is from administrator, and normal user can have privilege to write into it. Of course, we can drop a shortcut or a symlink over here, which will automatically forward whatever if someone try to write into it into the location which we as we desire, right? That can be possible. So let's just give it a try. However, that will not gonna work if there is any other file within that specific folder. If you want to do something like with a low privilege user, it will not gonna work if you don't really have an empty folder, because it is really important to having an empty folder on that particular part. If the folder is not empty, and if you cannot remove all the files over there, that won't work at all, because not all the time you will get such a cases where a user can have writable privilege. But first, let me just quickly check whether a normal user can have writable privilege or not, right? How I will gonna check it? Of course, using runners. Sorry, not the runner, using iCackles. iCackles can help you to figure out all the ACLs of the file system, right? Also, you can use PowerShell get ACL. That will gonna make the same sense. And yeah, but first, let me get a shell from a normal user. For that, I'm gonna use this internals shell run as I guess, shell run as cmd, and that will gonna allow me to use a different user to log in. It's from sysinternal. user, and I'll have shell or a CMD from a different user. Who am I? And here it is. It says I'm just a normal user. You can find it Whoami slash priv. I will have a minimum privilege, of course. Whoami slash group. I'm not part of the I'm not part of the administrator group. Means it's just a normal user. I can see it's just a new normal user which I recently created. Right? It's a normal user. And now let me just give it a try to check the privileges, like whether I can have privilege to write over here or not. Let's just do it. How I can check? Using can I make it ICACLL CLS ICACLs. You can find the name as it is, right? And if I hit enter, as you can see, the normal user have full access to this particular file, right? A normal user can have full access. By this F represent that will have the full access, right? And yeah, if the normal user have full access, I can try to overwrite it. Right now, if I type more, and of course that file, it contains some log. It looks like official log, of course. But if I try to do something like echo, I did something to this particular file, I'm just redirecting it using the redirection symbol or a greater than sign. And now if I try to read it once again, as you can see, I have privilege to modify that. Means I can delete that file, right? And if this folder is totally empty, if I cd into that folder, if this folder is totally empty and there is no files other than that, or if I have privilege to remove all the files within this directory, I can abuse this function. I can abuse this functionality. Like I can drop my symlink pointing to some administrator's location, right? Let me just give you an example. Right now, I have the only single file, so let me just quickly delete it. So I'm gonna use delete this particular file. Delete? No, del. For Windows, it's del. How I can forget? Lol. All right. So right now there is no file within that folder. However, I know the program. Whenever program will gonna execute, it will gonna try writing that particular log file, and as normal user have privilege to write into it, normal user can drop the malicious shell over there, malicious symlink over there, which can be pointed to some different location. So it will gonna, instead of writing to this official file, it will try writing that other files, right? So let me just give it a try. So first, I'll go into my directory where all the symlink testing tool is, which is sysinternals itself. I just copied all the tools over here, and I'll first create a mount point. So create mount. The create mount point will gonna create a mount point, or it will gonna join this folder which is empty. It requires empty folders. Keep this in mind. So I will gonna create a particular mount point from here to somewhere, or to any other folder which I want, right? To any other folder which I want. So let's just give it a try here, and I'll create another one. Let's use RPC control. That's the one. I can say you can even create another folder on your own, then it will gonna skip this process. You can completely skip this process, of course. So RPC, sorry, it's supposed to be \RPC. Backslash means the home, the root directory, right, for the Windows environment. But I'm saying that to my mount point right now, if I open my file explorer, within the C folder, there is no folder with the name of RPC control. Right now, there is nothing, right? So create mount point will gonna create a mount, or it will gonna somehow join those tools to different directories. So let me just quickly hit enter. And right now, they're supposed to be, of course, I didn't use that RPC control so far, so that's why it is not being displayed. But as soon as I started using that RPC control, it will gonna display over here within my C drive, right? So basically, it will gonna just merge to two different empty folder. Now I can use my create symlink tools somewhere over here. Create symlink tool, and now I can create the reference, or now I can create a symlink to this through this particular create symlink.exe. How I can do it? You cannot do it directly. That's the thing which is I wanted to explain. What do I mean by that? So basically, you want something like a man in the middle, MITM, right? A man in the middle, which this create mount point helps to find or helps to create that MITM stuff. Means you are according to the Windows operating system, you cannot, a normal user cannot create a symlink pointing to the different file. For example, if a.txt is there, anything, let's just assume, ignore the spelling, and there is a b.txt. In normal user cannot have privilege to do this. However, Windows has some really weird feature, like normal user can do something like this. A.txt is pointing to some location which is like MITM, which is pointing. It's not the normal text file. It's object, I can say. So you can point your a.txt to MITM, and later on you can create another symlink which is from MITM to the b.txt. So let's assume now program will try to where is my program will try to write this logger dot something, and that will automatically reflect it to MITM, and MITM has already not the reflection, MITM has already redirection to the b.txt. So eventually you will be overwriting, instead of a.txt you will be overwriting b.txt. I hope that makes sense to all of you. Let's just give it a try, but it requires two different shells. So let's just do it. Let's just create another shell. Shell run as shell run as cmd. Oops, here it is. And oops, here it is. User and cool. So now another shell from the same user. Right now I have two different shell, of course. First one, I'm gonna create a symlink from a.txt to the MITM, which I created through this create mount point. Let's just give it a try. So where's my file location? It's somewhere over here, logger.txt. So I'm gonna just paste it. It didn't work. Copy, paste. Here it is. Let me just maximize that. So I guess you guys can see it better. So I'm trying to first create a symbolic link from this location to the folder which I created, which is RPC control / on the root directory. So /RPC space control / any file name, any object name I can say, which you would like to use. For example, let's just give phone for the moment. And yeah, that's all. I'm gonna create and let's hit enter. Now, if someone try to do any activity over here, it will be reflected to this location, and I will create another redirector which will eventually forward the request of RPC control / phone to the location which I wanted to write. Right, means the b.txt. But for that I have to create another shell which I already have, and let's just see. Let's just move to the create symlink. I can directly copy, of course, that will gonna work from anywhere. So create symlink. I wanted to create symbolic link from this object to the particular location, like the destination which you would like to write. For example, a normal user cannot write win.ini, right? A normal user, it's supposed to be within Windows / win.ini. Normal user cannot have privilege to write into it, right? However, if I created a symbolic link, and next time, whenever administrator try to execute that particular program, which I was gonna do, here it is. I'll create another one. I have very short time. I think I have only 10 minutes, and I'll try to clean. I'll try to fix it. All right, I'll try to. Here it is. As you can see, the RPC control with the directory which I created, right? You cannot access directly, but yeah, as you can see, it's a symlink. By just looking into it, the shortcut look, right? It's a symlink to the different location. So yeah, I created some links, and right now I want to check the data of win.ini. I think I didn't change that so far. Here it is. Let's try to edit or just to read it. It contains the right data. Right now it contains the right data of 1 KB. I created a symbolic link. And now if I execute this logger.txt, hope I created my source code better. I think I didn't mess with anything. So it's supposed to be right that win.ini. It did work. It did execute it. And right now, as you can see, win.ini is changed to 2 KB, right? And it contains all of the my logs, right? All the logs. That's amazing, isn't it? You can write any of the file by just creating some symbolic links when the program is not really written well, or it's not secure. It try to create a logs many times. It creates a log in a temporary directory. Maybe it creates in a program data files, and it creates. That's important. And if it creates, you can have privilege to read and write. And if you have the right privilege, you can probably create a symbolic link and you can redirect those activity to the different location. As I executed that program to the administrator, right? It did work. Of course, it requires the administrator anyhow, but yeah, from the normal user, I did all the activity. Only administrator user executed that binary, right? Another those activity like logging all the data and all the stuff will be doing, or in normal cases, will be doing by the anti-authority system through some services. They create a service and that service will automatically do those kind of stuff, right? So this is the vulnerability exploitation, I can say. Let's assume that instead of this win.ini, if I specify SAM file location, right? The SAM file, the Windows password file, that can make a huge risk, right? Unfortunately, I don't have really time to explain the privilege escalation way using those concepts, but yeah, that's the one way how you can abuse when the right privilege is there, or when the process the administrator or the higher privilege process tries to write a particular file. You can probably create a symlink to the destination which you would like to override, right? And yeah, as you can see, I did overwritten the win.ini. That was not intended function at all, right? We tried executing and this was not the case. So yeah, this is how you can abuse the functionality. The second functionality is arbitrary file delete. Let me explain. I'm gonna take a quick, fast. I'm gonna do it very quickly. So I'll remove everything. Like I'll reset completely. I'll add a process, which is my second file, where it is. It's supposed to be deleter, right? If you want the source code, let me know. I'll drop to the Mystikcon channel itself. You can find it from the comments. Maybe you can just ask the administrator or Visarian, and he's gonna help you for sure for getting the source code of those binary for understanding, of course. All right, let's not waste our time. It's supposed to be delete something. Deleter. I forgot the name. Deleter. All right. Deleter. File process name contains. I prefer all the time deleter for less spelling mistakes. I do more spelling mistake, of course. All right. So right now all the processes will be removed. I'm gonna quickly refresh this. Means I'll start it once again. The process monitor by just clicking on that. Oops, did it crash? No. By just clicking over here, it will gonna remove all the stuff. And yep, now it will gonna list the deleter. So let's quickly try to execute that deleter file. It's supposed to be on the desktop, FOB, and here it is. All the activities has been logged over here, and I want something which does the delete activity. So how you can find it? You cannot find it by just going with the operation. It will be really difficult to go with the operation. You can either find with the details over here. That will be the best way, I can say, to figure out such vulnerability. So if I click on details, it's supposed to be over here. I want details contains, let's say, details should contain delete, and if I add and apply, it will gonna tell me what are the files. No, I think I did something wrong, or maybe spello. Desired access delete. Yeah, it will be within the same as well. Yeah, there are some other files, of course. All right, All good. So basically, this is you can easily find the delete operation, and of course you will be not. Uh, Wait, that's not the right one. Something is wrong. I messed with details contain delete. Or wait, let me quickly refresh that and let me get that once again. Yeah, that's supposed to be the same. As you can see, it contains the delete word, delete along with something else, but underscore delete. Let's just add underscore delete. I know the right way. Details contains underscore delete or delete. It just a country difference. Here it is. Cool. So basically, it does two activity for the delete stuff, right? It just tells that this will gonna delete the activity will gonna delete some stuff. It will gonna delete /c:// windows temp delete me, which is the folder itself /super secret.log, right? A normal user will have privilege to write into temp directory. A normal user have complete privilege to that. Also, it will gonna delete that delete me file. This can be an example of installer where your installer, you try to install a program and that program will automatically use some temporary location. Of course, that temporary location will be some random characters, but if it is not, then you can utilize such kind of vulnerability. So yeah, it tries to create a directory. It will gonna do all the necessary stuff and it will gonna remove that directory, and that directory is within the temp directory, and you will have privilege to remove any files within the temp directory. So let's assume that if you created a file itself with the name of delete me, or a folder, sorry, if you created a folder with the name of delete me, and within that folder you created a symlink with the name of supersecret.log, which will be eventually deleted. Like it can be anything. It's just an example. So basically, as we know over here, a.txt will be reflected with the mitm, and mitm will be reflected or redirected to the b.txt. Eventually, instead of I can say deleting this supersecret.log, you will going to delete the other file, which will be b.txt. Let me remove all the stuff, unnecessary stuff. So the concept will be totally same. Let me just quickly give you a quick demonstration. I'll hit enter because I don't want to use this. Of course, not this as well. And yeah, so what I'll start by creating a directory within, or I'll start by creating a directory within that particular folder. I know that where it is, it's supposed to be over here. I know that it requires that delete me directory. However, it automatically deletes that, right? As I can see. So if I try to check using iCackles, that particular file, sorry for the extra time, admin. It will gonna take only 5 more minutes, and yeah, I'm good to go. Delete me, and it says failed processing one file because there is a no file with the name of delete me. If I try cd into that, into temp directory, if I type dir, there is nothing within that directory. However, if I type icacls on current directory, okay, I cannot read it, but yeah, if I try mkdir and try to create a directory with the name of delete me, it will gonna work. And within by just typing dir, maybe you'll end up finding that if I cd into that delete me, it will gonna work. You cannot list and all the stuff within the temp directory. However, you'll still have some smaller privilege, like you can create the directory, and within that directory, you'll have complete privilege, like because of you are the owner, right? A normal user is the owner. So I created that delete me directory. Now I just have to create a mount point. How I'm gonna do? It's simple. We already did that, right? We require three shell from the normal user. Who am I? It's a normal user. Who am I? A normal user, right? I need one more. So let's say shell run as cmd. Here it is. Okay, I'm going too fast, I guess so, but yeah, the small lesser time. You can connect me personally if you wish to learn more about it. So yeah, first I'll have to create a mount point. So \cd /sys internal suites, You have to, I just put it all the binaries over there. All right, create mount point from the location which I would like to use for this is this skeleton, which I created. Of course, it wasn't there. Wait, copy, paste to the backslash rpc control, and it will gonna create that, and we have to use the same as we used earlier, but this time path will be a bit different. All right, create symlink. Instead of that logger plus plus, I'll gonna remove that, and I'll gonna place my this log file location. So let me copy it quickly. So program, whenever program will gonna execute, it will try deleting this file after creating, of course. However, it will gonna delete, right? So we can redirect that delete activity to some system confidential file, like a SAM file, like some confidential file can be there. For privilege escalation, you can probably delete some internal DLL file. If internal DLL file is missing, it will try finding within the path environment variable, and that can give you the privilege escalation, right?
It is yeah, it is past time. I won't disturb you, but I think we need to yeah, go to the questions if there are questions, of course.
All right, we have questions, Sam.
Let me check if there are questions about the session. You can ask them right now. You have 5 minutes to ask questions. Let me see if there are questions. I don't see any questions.
No questions.
Let's wait. Let's wait 10 seconds. If there are questions, guys, you can ask them. Now, someone says it was really a cool session. Thank you for saying that.
All right.
No, I think there are no questions.